Quincas and I'm a synth DIY guy, and welcome to the demo video for Steve's MS22 dual filter by Threetom Modular. You might have already seen my build video on it where I talk about its features, show how to build it, and then show how to calibrate it. But if you didn't, there's a paragraph here in the website that I'm just going to read to you. The MS22 contains two dedicated filter circuits, one low pass and the other a high pass. These are configured in series, the low pass going into the high pass. This configuration allows for a unique duophonic fighting resonance behavior. The cutoff frequencies of both filters can be CV'd. Compared to most bread and butter MS20 clones, the MS22 is twice the amount of filter condensed down into half the package. Furthermore, the MS22 also possesses the following selling points. Tom goes on. CV control over input gain. Basically, this allows you to either CV the level of filter overdrive or use it as a VCA for signal going into the filter. It offers CV control over resonance, and the resonance can be pushed way further compared to Korg's MS20. It also has a link switch which links the cutoff frequencies of the low pass and high pass filters in two different ratios. That's this switch over here. This creates two flavors of bandpass filters, of which the bandwidth can be tweaked and CV'd. The switch itself also serves as an awesome performance effect, as you can use it to create an instant drop. The MS22 has a unique modulation matrix that allows to configure many internal patches without using cables. The modulation matrix is designed to encourage happy accidents. So we're going to start by looking at it pinging. I have it connected to my oscilloscope here via Threetom's own wiretap adapter. See, this is a really cool way to visualize, if you have a bench scope like this, to visualize what's going on. And basically what I have going on here, the MS22 is at near self-oscillation, and I'm sending it a gate from the sequencer and also the CV from the sequencer as well, so we can get a variable pitch pinging. Okay, so let's listen to that. I get it slightly past the pinging point so that it actually goes into self-oscillation for some notes. And you get that sad robot effect, that little downward gliss. Listen to it. There's no sound source connected to the filter. This is just the filter itself being pinged. The only thing I'm applying to it is a little bit of spring reverb here. Now if I bring back the resonance, we're going to start losing the whiny part of the patch. There you go. I really literally moved it like less than a millimeter. Now I can bring up the volume a little bit. Just a little bit more of resonance. Let's bring that center frequency down a bit. So many different flavors of filter pinging can be achieved with this little filter. I'm loving it. Just nudge it slightly. Get it in that brink. Right there. Now I can playing around with the switches here a little bit. You have two link modes here. So in the middle, no link at all. The bottom, it's a 50% relationship between high pass and low pass. And here's 100%. Man, I could ping this filter all day. Let's make it lower pitches here. We can make it a more narrow variation too. So just low notes, and at this point we can probably bring up the resonance a little bit more, because it tends to self-oscillate sooner in the higher frequencies. So here in the low frequencies we can deal with slightly higher resonance setting. There we go. This is the bandwidth knob over here, or spread, as it were. Let's make this a little faster. Loving it. Such a nice pingable filter. Okay, now let's go into experiment number 2 here. So we'll bring the resonance down now. We'll stop the sequencer. You can actually even unplug these 2 cables, because we're going to start by connecting. First, let's plug in a white noise and really get a feel for these frequency knobs here. We'll get a white noise from the RLFO from Takab, right? And now if I leave the top switch in the middle, which is the link switch, I have now individual manual control over the 2 frequencies of the 2 filters. So low pass here, right? And high pass here, right? If I bring the resonance up, you can create these 2 peaks, resonant peaks. You're emphasizing different notes, right? Different. When they get really close together, they start fighting. You get this beating, right? Which can be quite interesting musically, quite nice. Now, when you do this with a waveform, let's take the pulse wave here from the black VCO2. Bring the volume down a little bit. Here's one frequency, right? It emphasizes different harmonics of that fundamental. And here's the second filter, which is the high pass. And we emphasize different ones. Another thing that's interesting about this filter is the gain, because there are actually 2 VCAs that the gain controls. One is the input gain before the first filter, but then there's another VCA before the second filter. And depending on your gain setting, you end up emphasizing one or the other more or less. And you can definitely get up to overdrive levels. See? If I bring down the resonance, you're just driving the input signal as it goes into each filter sequentially. Right? A little more resonance again. Now I can bring that gain down. If you bring it all the way down, you get silence, which means you can also use this as a VCA. Quickly set up here, I'll take the gate from channel 1 of the sequencer, and we're going to trigger the envelope generator here. And we'll take that output from the envelope generator into the auxiliary CV input right here, right? And we can assign it using the modulation matrix, which is basically all of these little switches here. So I've started the sequencer here, and I'm sending a gate to the envelope generator, and the envelope generator is going into the auxiliary input here, and I've flicked the switch on the gain. So now this is acting as, the gain is acting as a VCA. There's that too. You can forego a VCA using this module, but notice how it also affects the timbre. Because more gain doesn't just give you more volume, it changes the whole response of the filters. Okay, let's link the filters. Let's bring down the resonance a little bit. Now let's use the main output here of the black VCO expander, so we can add more waves. So I have a sub-oscillator here, saw wave, sine wave, pulse wave, everybody. Just make it a little more interesting. And why not take the CV output from the sequencer there we go. Now I can use my joystick here, black joystick, on the first CV input and control that center frequency of the filter. Why don't I record this little movement here? There we go. That's nice. A little more reverb, a little more volume. Put up the bandwidth and bring the offset down a little bit. There we go. Let's offset the gain. I have to admit, I'm loving this filter. Who would have thought 4 HP? So cool. So I've showed off the VCA functionality, the pinging with the self-oscillation, the droning, right? The white noise with the 2 peaks. So now let's do some of the suggested patches in the manual. How about that? Low pass gate. With this setting, an envelope controls both the low-pass filter cutoff frequency and the input gain, resulting in a low-pass gate. We kind of did that, except that we weren't using it for also the filter, right? So what we'll do, we'll remove this thing, and we'll just use the first input because it's normaled to the second input. Yeah, so this is the low pass gate setting right here. We're affecting both the frequency of the filter and the gain with the same CV from the EG here. Give it a little more release. What a nice bass, huh? So this is a low pass gate. As it does its thing with the sequencer, modulate that top knob. And you know what? At first I thought this was gonna feel really cramped, this module. But I don't know, the pots are really good quality. And they're small enough and grippy that it really feels nice. Feel nice to play with them, even though they're really tightly packed into this tiny 4 HP filter. Slowly morphing bandpass. So this idea is to just create some ambient sounds, right? So we'll throw in an oscillator and use two different slow-moving LFOs for both inputs. And then we'll just tweak everything to taste. So it's saying to have the high pass offset fully counterclockwise, the low pass frequency offset fully counterclockwise if the frequency CV input is unipolar, or we'll leave it at noon if it's bipolar. Yeah, and I'm going to use a bipolar. We're going to use joystick channel 1 in sine mode, sine LFO mode. So mode sine. There we go. And now I have amplitude and frequency controls over this sine wave with the joystick here. So that's going to be nice. And we're going to send both outputs. Actually, they're supposed to be different, right? Let's go to channel 2 here. Choose sine there. There we go. Right, and then channel 3 here will be another one. Set that to sine. There we go. And we'll put that into the auxiliary CV. Now we want the add some modulation. And make it slower too, right? Now, the link switch can be on or off in any position. It's going to be interesting. Resonance. Yeah, if I bring down the resonance, then it can be interesting to have it be modulated by the alternative CV input as well. Or maybe make it negative and have it more gain here, or less gain and more pulse filter volume. A little bit more reverb here. Let's make them more subtle maybe. So yeah, that's the slowly morphing bandpass. Good for ambient sounds, indeed. Very nice. Let's go back to channel 2 here. Right, and the way these two interact is what makes it interesting, the two LFOs. Now let's turn off the modulation, the resonance modulation, and just leave the resonance kind of almost oscillating, so that we're really getting those harmonics. So nice. I just think the LFOs are a little fast. That's nice. We'll make them. This will probably sound nice with noise too. Let's check that out. Yep, like an ocean breeze. Or a polar wind. Either one. So yeah, I could keep going. You can make kicks, basses, and whatnot. You can set it to self-oscillate. It's not going to tune perfectly to 1 volt per octave, by the way. But you can definitely do some very interesting percussive things. Or tweak it till you get that bass line in tune. But I think you get the idea. So I'm going to stop for now. I hope you liked the video, and I hope you liked the Threetom modular, Steve's MS22. See you soon, and stay noisy.